Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Northern Celtic podcast. This week I'm again joined by Isaac.
Hello.
And by Dan.
Hello, everyone.
And this week we're back for another thrilling episode. So, to start to get this episode underway, we're going to start with our brand new routine tradition by going for a throwback game of the week, which is involved with the player we're interviewing. So, of course, the player we're interviewing this week is Isaac. So, Isaac, tell us, what do you remember about our 2-2 draw with Feathers Reserves?
Oh, good grief. What year was this?
This was in 2018, January the 21st.
Right, so this was my first goal for Northern Celtic. It was, I thought it was a cup game, but I looked at the picture, I was looking through the stats earlier, and it turns out it was a league game. But it's the first time that I'd ever got chosen to take a free kick. It was about, 40, 45 yards out. And to be honest, I wasn't really shooting. I was just hoping to get it into the box because I was playing centre-half. So I just thought, I'm just going to try and put it in the box and see if I can create a problem. But it obviously caught the wind and the keeper off guard and went into the far left corner. And because I wasn't expecting it to happen, I absolutely lost it and I ran over to management and jumped on everyone. And an Italian celebration. The midfielder came and said to me, he said it was an Italian free kick and an Italian celebration, very over the top. But it was one of them games that was kind of like, it was a typical game against Feathers where it was kind of a draw or the weather was bad.
Yeah.
Something crazy happened, as it always was.
So in other words, it was a typical Sunday game.
Yeah, as it was with that, and that was the catalyst to my free kick taking.
Been taking free kicks ever since then, haven't you?
Yeah, well, more or less, when it's not nicked by Charlie or whoever else wants to take it. So, to be fair, I can't knock him that free kick he scored against us when I was playing for Rocco. That was mental. But yeah, we share it across the team. But yeah, no.
Well, brilliant. I'll let you take it away, Dan, with the questions.
Well, I hope everyone's doing okay over this lovely pandemic we're having. But Isaac, I would like to hop in straight on with another question. What has been your favourite position you've played this season?
Good grief. So I've played centre half, centre mid, attacking midfield, and short stint at centre forward at the end of the season when our striker lost his legs and decided we'd have a swap, which actually ended in me scoring. And that's when you came on the left wing when Dan ended up in a pile in the corner.
Oh, I remember that one.
But I think for me, for myself, the best position that I've played, I really enjoy playing in midfield and holding midfield because that's it allows me to be able to do some of my technical play, which I enjoy doing, and not get shouted at for doing it on the 18-yard box, which is always a problem.
A bit dangerous.
Yeah, but like I said, to be honest, I'll play anywhere for the team, and you guys know that I'll play anywhere. But I would, if I had to choose, it would either be CDM or centre half. I mean, I love defending. I'm passionate for defending. It's quite a good thing to do. I the thrill of scoring a goal as I do making a great tackle. So
that's what we like. So, next question for you, Isaac. What is your biggest fear going into this next football season, whenever that may be?
Blimey, my biggest fear.
Yeah.
For me personally, or just in general?
For you personally, from your point of view.
Okay. For me personally, my biggest fear is just being able to lead the team in the best way I can, because as captain, I absolutely love the responsibility. I'm also I want to make sure that I'm doing the best for the team and I'm supporting everyone in the right way that I can, and I want to get I almost fear not being at the right standard, which is why I try and set such a high standard of myself for when I'm captain in the team, because I would fear letting the whole team down. So I think I would say fear and letting the team down, which is what I would never want to do. So that's why that would be for me personally. And like I say, fear of but the season would be obviously if something went wrong and we lost a lot of players or something like that. But I feel like we've overcome so much on this journey that it doesn't really feel like anything's unachievable. If something bad has happened, we've just gone, right, okay, how do we overcome it? And that's, the epitome of this football club. And I think it's really important that we look at that and players know that when they play for us, that you're playing for someone that's, wanting to get better, and we don't care what we have to overcome, because we will overcome it, and we always have done, and there's no reason why we shouldn't in the future. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Going on from what you said about being captain, what's it like being the captain of the team?
I tell you what, it's not easy, but it's one of the the greatest pleasures that I've had playing for Northern. I was captain a couple of times when I was sort of 18, when Aaron was in charge, but he wanted me to focus more on my football than my leading side. Obviously, I've always, when I played youth football, I was a captain for Fran, and it's always been something that I love having the responsibility for. But to have that responsibility to captain a team that you love playing for, there's nothing better. I love being responsible for being out there and playing with you boys, going out to war with you guys on a Sunday. It's an absolute pleasure, and being able to take a role as that, and being young, I think it's really important if you're captain to take on from older players that have had more experience and learn from each other, because you're never going to get it right each time. So it's always really important to learn from your mistakes and develop yourself as a better player, a better person, and a better captain.
Well, it's definitely one way of putting it, Blue. It does feel like sometimes running out of the changing room does feel like running onto a battlefield, especially when it's wet and cold on a morning. And
it's like the song.
Yeah, but being hit by a cold mitre ball on a frosty morning is definitely a painful experience, to say the least. But
amen to that.
But what would be one piece of advice, Isaac, that you would give any young footballer in the Sunday League divisions who wants to be a versatile player, have the ability to play consistently at centre back, yet have that drive to get forward almost, and compete for other positions when needed? What would be your advice for that?
Do you know what? It's a tough one, because it's something that I've always been able to do. I've always been able to play wherever I'm needed to play, which is great for your for coaching staff and management, because I like I say, and I'm happy to play wherever you want to play. Like, you stick me anywhere and I'll give it my best go. I think the attitude to have is to make sure that when you're asked to play a position, you can kind of either learn from watching videos and from that position, or learning from people in the club who have played that position, just to give you a few tips. If I have to go in a certain position that I'm not familiar with, I just speak to someone who has played there before and just ask for tips, or speak to the manager and just go, right, give me 3 targets to get out of this game, and I'll do them. I'm a very visual player. If you give me targets to do and I have to set out to do those, I will try and complete them in the game, and it makes it a lot easier to get the best out of me. But I would just say, just be determined, expect to get things wrong, but expect to learn from them, and also be willing to do what you can for your team, because that will show a lot of heart.
Does it do anything to your mindset as well? Because surely your mindset would change in different positions, isn't it?
It's a tricky one, because if you go to a game expecting to play one position and then 10 minutes before you change, it does make you doesn't mess out how you're thinking about playing. Because I'm on the way when we drive to football, I'm thinking about what I want to do from the position I'm playing. But needs must on a Sunday, and you have to just adapt there and then, because if you don't, you let it consume you, and you can't let that, because you won't get the best out of yourself, and you won't be benefiting the team. You'll be cheating your team. So just try and stay grounded and just focus on what's in front of you.
What would your lowest and highest moment be in your time since you've been at Northern? This can be from when you first started, just anything related.
Okay. I'd probably say my lowest point for me personally would be when I first started, because of where I was in my football career. I'd, had a few problems before. I've had a few injuries and, lost a lot of confidence in myself. So I was at kind of a that was the make or break, whether I was going to continue playing or whether I was just going to go, I can't do this anymore. But after playing the first game and I enjoyed it so much, I've carried on since then and, gone back to Saturday football. So that's, that was the catalyst for the changing of decisions. Then my highest point, I would probably say, is it'd have to be one of my free kicks. I think possibly scoring that free kick against Assington in the cup, where I played 70 minutes and I was quite ill, we'll say, and I had to come off. I scored about another 45-yard free kick and then came off and laid on the side of the pitch for the rest of the game.
I do remember that game when we turned up, because I was injured at the time. Me and you got out the car and they just looked at us, and like you said, you managed to play a lot of time, didn't you? And then I came on for you in the end because we were out of subs. So
I felt so unwell, and it wasn't a self-inflicted unwell. It was just I just was not well at all. But yeah,
you play even if you're not that well.
Oh yeah, I'll turn up. If I say I'm going to be there, I'll be there.
Yeah. So Isaac,
toilet nearby.
Yeah.
So Isaac, what would you say, since you joined Northern Celtic, what would you say are the biggest differences between the team when you first joined and the team now? What would you say is the most prominent difference that has occurred since joining?
When I first joined, I think it was similarly to most seasons. It's a bit of a rebuild, so trying to get going. It was very much kind of, we were turning up and we were getting turned over every week for about a year and a half. And from that point, it was interesting to see. It was very Sunday, but for me at that point, I wasn't bothered about the results because I was just bothered about getting minutes and trying to get my confidence back. And and to compare that to where we are now it's a completely different set of players and a completely different setup. The expectations are different. The players have got higher expectations themselves. The attitude that I see now is, yes, it's Sunday football, but we want this. We want higher standards. You set your own standards, because if you don't, then you just everyone. I mean, I know it is, but I hate the statement of it's Sunday league. I was like, well, I don't get that. Why would you? If you're there to play and enjoy yourself, you've got to give it your highest standard, because if people just use that as an excuse to turn up late, to not play well, then that really frustrates me. That's just me personally. That's how I feel about it.
It's not worth going or playing if you're going to play with someone who's not willing to put in 100% effort, especially when all your other teammates will.
I would much rather play with someone who gives 110% on the pitch, but who is not as good as someone else who gives 70%.
Yes. I definitely agree with you on that statement.
Yeah. Is there any other questions that you want to ask Isaac, Dan, that you have lined up?
I do have one. As a fellow left-footed footballer like me, what do you think it's like adapting to use your weaker foot when it's not your preferred foot? Because I think we can both agree we don't have the best right foot.
I think it's being left-footed is a well, I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how different it would be to being right-footed, but I think that it's very similar. Everyone struggles with their weaker foot, but I mean, it's just practice and repetition, because it's muscle memory, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's all if you do it enough, you'll get to a point where your feet will remember what it's doing when you're on the pitch, and you'll start to become more consistent. And I think that kind of the point of where it is. And I mean, my right foot over this quarantine period has improved a lot, because I've used it to try and better my technical ability and make sure I'm ready for when the season starts up again. If I think this is a crucial time to make sure we're getting fit to get ourselves ahead and ready, because when we go back, we can hit the ground running and get pre-season going, which is really, really important. And
the
we've
main
got
sort of concern I think everyone wants is the football season to return so we can jump straight into it.
Yeah, and I've spoke to numerous amounts of players and some that might be signing on, and they are absolutely just itching to get back. And after speaking to the committee, and I think the big thing is just missing seeing the guys and playing with them every Saturday and just and having that. Yeah, and you don't realise how much you miss it until it's taken away from you. And like I say, we hadn't seen each other since the 15th of March all together as a three.
No.
And that's crazy. We used to see each other, twice a week, sometimes even 3 times a week. But it is what it is at the minute, and all we could do is look forward. Coming from a position, I'm a key worker myself, and working in the teaching industry, you can only work with what's in front of you. You can't speculate on what if. You can work with what you've got, and you set targets, and you go from there. And you have to do the same with the football club, which is why I've spent so much time off the field, getting the club's shop set up, and getting the tracksuits done, and doing this podcast with you guys. I think it's really important for team morale and for people that are interested and want to be a part of the club in one way or another to see this is what we're about and this is what we want.
And also the support we get on this podcast is it's really good. It makes everyone related to the club, just everyone's over the moon with it.
The messages that I've received and seen from the players and people of the club, it's been absolutely overwhelming. I can't thank people enough for that, because we spend a lot of time recording this and myself editing it and then uploading it, and it's really makes it worth the while doing it. And it's nice to kind of have that sort of content. Like for other people in the league who have teamed in the league, they can come and listen, and if we're playing them, we can talk about the games. And I'll be very brutally honest and say it how it is. And if we play poorly, I will tell us we played poorly.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be any bite. You'll hear more content from our club. But if you have played better than us, I won't be biased towards our club. That is the end of the day what it is, But no, it's been it's been a I think off the pitch, it's been a very positive uplift for the club, ready for when we start again.
What are your ambitions for this season?
My ambitions
for the club.
For the club, promotion is my high aim. And looking at the attitude and how it's changing and the positivity, I don't see why not. It is all about, you said it in episode 1, Dan, consistency, commitment. The 2 C's are almost so important to any football club. If you can get that, you're on a roll to start going up. And you need people with attitude like Cameron's. You can hear it from episode 2. Like, if you haven't listened to that, go back and check that out, and you hear more about Cameron's story. And you learn out about why his attitude is the way it is, and if people have that, then that's what keeps clubs going, and that is why people do what they do and play the way they do, and you can't ask for anything more. But promotion, me personally, try and actually score a bit more goals, contribute a bit more, and just get some more clean sheets, man. I know it's tough on a Sunday, but you've got to aim for it, and
that's the top aim.
Questions to ask Isaac, Cameron?
No, I think we're just about wrapped up for today.
Brilliant.
So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into the Northern Celtic podcast again. Like I say, we're all very appreciative of the support that we've got back from this. So, and we're going to keep going with it. We'll try and keep new content coming every week. So, thank you very much, guys, for listening. It's goodbye from me, goodbye from Isaac.
Cheers.
And
Cheers,
goodbye from
guys.
Dan.
Thank you for listening.
It's a goodbye from me, but just before we go, this is a question for the people who are watching. If you want us to talk about anything in particular, just drop it in a comment or something, and we'll get back to you, and we can have a discussion on this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got anything that you want us to discuss or debate about or have a chat about that you'd like to get our opinions on, social medias, Northern Celtic FC on Instagram, FC Northern on Twitter. If you drop a message or anything like that, we'll see what we can do for you.
Lovely.
But yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Goodbye.